In this video, I'm going to go over 10.1.21t, and we're given a table of information that we can copy and paste in Excel, or in StatCrunch. I'm going to use StatCrunch. I'm going to open it in my clipboard, copy it, and paste it into StatCrunch. So you can see here that under variable 1 in StatCrunch, I have best actresses, and under variable 2, I have best actors. So you got to be a little bit careful how the answers are here in the scatter plot, what's on the x-axis and what's on the y-axis. So when I go to create this scatter plot under graph, I'm going to pick the scatter plot. So my x variable is going to be my best actresses. So the variable that's on the x here, best actresses. And if I open up StatCrunch, I can scoot it over. Best actresses is going to be variable 1, and variable 2 is going to be best actor. That's going to be on the y-axis. So compute it. That gives me my scatter plot. So you can see which one kind of comes close. You got to be a little careful with the units here, but in this case it's A. So A is going to be the one that I want, and I'm going to check that. Then I'm going to move on to find the linear coefficient. And this is going to be important when we go to talk about the probability of the significance level and things. So to calculate that, there's a couple different ways you can calculate it. One is going to be in statistics and regression and simple linear. And here is going to be a couple different ways I can do it. I have my x variable and my y variable. Confidence interval. This can give me the confidence interval, and I'm also going to do a hypothesis testing on this one, but if I want to do confidence interval, the alpha in the problem is given as 0.05, so that gives me a confidence interval of 0.95. If you're given an alpha of 0.01, you have to use a confidence interval of 0.99. But I can go ahead and compute it, and I can at least get my R here. This is my correlation coefficient. A lot of other information is given here, but for this case, I'm just going to use this correlation coefficient for my R. You can also calculate it by hand. It's not that difficult. Round 3 decimal places as needed. Since this is a 7, I'm going to round the 5 up to a 6. If I can put it there. So the next step is going to be determine the null and alternate hypothesis. So would we expect there to be a correlation? So we're going to do a hypothesis test here. So we're going to say the null hypothesis is that it's going to be equal to 0, and the alternative hypothesis is it's not equal to 0. Sometimes it might say greater than or less than, depending on the wording of the question. So now we need to find the test statistic. And to do that, if we go back into StatCrunch and we go back into statistics, regression, simple linear, but now we're going to do the hypothesis testing, and we're going to pick equals 0 or doesn't equal 0 with the intercept and the slope here. So compute that. Oh, I forgot to select my x variable, my y variable. Compute that. And that's going to give us the slope here is what we're most interested in with a linear regression, not the intercept, the slope. You can find that the R value is also here. So we could have used that. The sample size is given, the standard deviation, the errors, a bunch of information is given here. Really what we want to hear is this t statistic of the slope. So this is going to be, get that copied, minus 0.767, rounding 3 decimal places. And I can check that answer. Round 2 decimal places. Be careful with reading there. So that's going to be 0.7. Keyboard doesn't want to work. 0.77. So negative 0.77. Okay. So be careful with reading the instructions there. So the p-value is given on the test, and that is this p-value here. And it wants it round 3 decimal places. So since it was 8, round up. So then the rest is saying, okay, the p-value of the linear correlation coefficient, what has to do with the slope, is greater than the significance level, right? So this is going to be greater than, so there is not significant evidence to make this claim. And then you can read why would you expect there to be a correlation, yes or no, and answer it there. So hopefully this video helped. If you have any other questions, please let me know.